systems crumble when challenged. Challenges reveal hidden power. Firefly frees the mind and rewrites destiny. The revolution begins with your children. The Firefly Revolution starts now.
Patriots, what I'm about to share could save your children and your grandchildren from the collapsing, corrupt, woke indoctrination camps that we call public schools. My friends of over 20 years, Jordan and Mary Page, they have just launched the Nuclear Option, an AI-powered homeschool platform that makes escaping the government education monopoly as simple as downloading an app. My friends, this is the shot across the bow at the establishment. Now, homeschooling has already doubled since 2021, and Firefly is about to make it explode. And guess what? They've even partnered with the legendary Ron Paul, and they're using AI to eliminate every barrier, and they're giving parents complete control over their children's education. Again, Jordan and Mary, this is absolutely revolutionary. Welcome back to the Next News Network. I want to just jump right into this. Jordan,
okay.
What you've built here, I've seen it. We've been talking about it. I'm super excited about it. And I mean, you've been fighting for liberty for 20 years as a musician, an activist. What pushed you to create Firefly, and why now when homeschooling's already exploding?
Sure, the great question. So we've been homeschooling our 7 kids for the past 14 years. Mary is their primary educator, and we've had great success with it. And we've really seen every iteration of homeschooling that there is. We've tried them all, you know. And Mary got her master's degree in teaching in 2020, and she showed me the materials that she was being given to absorb and regurgitate, and it was really quite shocking to see the agenda at play in what they are teaching teachers to say and to distribute to students. And it was really it was really convicted us in the spirit to do something about it and to create something that would be a blessing to other homeschool families, to provide a platform that would have helped us when we first started. And so we set our minds to, you know, what could we build? And Mary said to me in this very iconic moment for both of us, she said, whatever we build, we need to call it Firefly. And I said, why? And she says, because we need to teach kids to be lights in the darkness.
Oh,
and
man.
That just grabbed my imagination. And I just ran with it. And we've, you know, 4 or 5 years later now, we've created this beautiful, robust tech platform that is meant to be a blessing to homeschool families.
You know what? We've tried homeschooling, you know, during COVID. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the boxes of materials and everything that we had, the cost, it was kind of top heavy, to be honest with you. And to try to navigate everything and go through the curriculums and just the preview I've seen of this platform, like how it's streamlined, how it's developed, and how it makes it so simple. I'm super excited for this. Now, I want to ask Mary. Now, you have two master's degrees.
I do. Yep.
You're a licensed teacher. You're like, I'm out. You left the system. So what's happening in American schools that parents really need to understand?
Yeah, well, I would say that my first real clue into what was happening in American schools happened when our oldest son, who's actually getting ready to graduate with both his high school diploma and his associate's degree this spring, he was going into first grade. And, you know, Gary, my initial background was not in teaching. I have a master's in public administration and nonprofit management. So I was working in the nonprofit sector, and we had always said that we were just going to put our kids in maybe a private school. We knew we didn't really want to do public school, but we thought, you know, maybe private school. And as he was going into his first year of private school, we realized that there were some real significant challenges that we were coming up against as far as because our oldest son is on the spectrum. And so we realized there were some challenges that they were wanting to kind of pigeonhole him into a category. And I took a look at my, 5-year-old son, and Jordan and I talked, and I was like, I cannot put him in a position where he's going to get stuck in a box. He has a different learning style, and he needs, different kinds of support to be able to be successful. And so that was kind of my first tip off that something wasn't right, that the way that kids were being kind of funneled into these channels to learn in one way and, have access to information in only one way really wasn't good for them. And so as we kind of went through the process of homeschooling our kids, I realized, just for our own family, it was good for me to go back to school and get some credentials and to be able to be kind of a support for people in our community. And as I got into the master's program, my second master's program, learning what they were teaching the new teachers, I really realized, like, wow, the agenda here is just, this is not good. I was, my mid 30s. I had kind of had some life experience, and I knew enough to know that what they were teaching was not right. But someone coming out of high school going into a teaching program, who, let's face it, all teachers get into it because they want to make a difference. They want to help kids, right? But these young teachers, they don't have the life experience to understand that what they're being taught is ethically incorrect. It's morally incorrect. It's, creating an indoctrination system. And so that was, like Jordan said, the catalyst for why we decided to do something else. But in the meantime, I spent 5 years working for the public school system. So I have experience actually being a public school teacher working.
And so you've seen it all. You've seen everything happening.
Like, I mean, all the different sides, here where we live, there's the whole legislation that came down in the Pacific Northwest that, has all kinds of agendas behind it, starting in kindergarten. And, that is all happened as I was working with the school district.
Okay. Hold on a second, Mary. Let's be honest here. Kindergarten, what are they teaching kids? Like, they're actually confusing them as to which bathroom to use in the public school system. And this is like before they even know like what parts they even have. I mean, it's completely out of control.
Yeah, I agree. And so, just as like I said, most educators get into to teaching because they want to help children and they want to help them grow. And so, it's unfortunate the way that things are going and the way that, it really is becoming an indoctrination system. And so, like Jordan said, that was really the catalyst for us in wanting to actually do something to make a difference for families in a way that was easily implementable. Because let's be honest, like you said, homeschooling can be really challenging if you don't have the right support. And when we started out, I didn't have the right support. I was totally on my own with a bunch of little kids. We have 7 kids, and it was very much trial and error. So in thinking through how to create Firefly, we wanted to design something that would be completely supportive for the families, to give them the opportunity to be able to homeschool without feeling completely overwhelmed and with having all the tools that they needed to be successful. So,
and you bring up support because once you get a big box of curriculum, you're like, where do I even begin?
Right.
Which book do I open? Where do I start? And I know a lot of these companies, you can make a phone call and you got to press 1 for English and then all these other things. You go through the process and eventually you get to somebody, in a call center and wherever they are. And yes, I'm being cynical, but at the same time, like, it's just not as intuitive as something that I've seen you guys build here. And I want to talk about the biggest like explosive revelation that you guys have shared with me. And I know you guys have been working on this for a long time. And that's the integration of Ron Paul's curriculum. I want to talk about that. But first, you guys shared with me this beautiful video of the system, and it's about 2 minutes long. Let's watch it together, and then we'll talk about Ron Paul and his incorporation into your program. So let's check this out.
Great.
You made a brave decision. You chose to take your child's education into your own hands. But let's be honest, homeschooling isn't always easy. You're juggling lesson planning, grading, finding the right resources. And on top of that, making sure your child is actually learning and thriving. It can feel overwhelming, isolated, like you're doing it all alone.
Oh, wow. So true.
That's why we built Firefly. Firefly is a complete homeschooling platform created for families just like yours. With our AI-powered tools, you can instantly generate full courses, customize lessons, track progress, and manage everything in one place. And with Firefly Translate Plus, your child can learn in their own language, thanks to groundbreaking technology that matches.
Okay, guys, I'm pausing it because I've seen this. Buckle up. What you're about to see is absolutely amazing. Just hold on to your seats.
Voice and lip movements to over 40 languages.
His poetic teachings underpin most Christian beliefs today, as well as laws, morals and customs in Western society. Christlichen Lehren untermauern die meisten christlichen Glaubenssätze von heute, ebenso wie Gesetze, Moral und Sitten in der westlichen Gesellschaft.
Yes!
You don't have to do this alone anymore. With Firefly, you're not just homeschooling, you're empowered, connected, and equipped with the best tools education has to offer. Welcome to Firefly. You made the right choice, and now you're not in this alone.
Oh my goodness. Dude, you guys have just created one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And speaking of created, there's another video here. It's only about 30 seconds long, but this is the character that helps you through the process, and it's the cutest thing you'll ever see. So check this out.
How do you do? I'm Freddy. Let's build something amazing together, right here on Firefly.
Wow.
Yeah,
Just
we love
wow.
Freddy. We love
Yeah.
Freddy.
Freddy's
Freddy's
Just wow. What you guys have created, I mean, is remarkable. And now you've just partnered with the Ron Paul curriculum. I mean, that's huge. Jordan, tell me now, how does this partnership create a complete liberty-based education path from kindergarten all the way through high school?
Sure. Well, Dr. Paul's curriculum is a very freedom-focused and very academically rigorous K through 12 curriculum. And it will be entirely integrated into the Firefly ecosystem as an addition to our very robust platform that provides support, technology, and tools for parents to help them be successful homeschooling. Ron's curriculum isn't just the core subjects. It also goes into history and philosophy and civics. I mean, it's really just an amazing program, and it really teaches students to become self-directed learners. I think by 4th or 5th grade, most students are able to do the curriculum mostly on their own, with mom and dad overseeing it and grading tests and papers and whatnot. But it's designed to create students that are very self-directed, and which is really what most higher learning institutions are looking for now. They're looking for self-directed learners, which is why homeschoolers are being really attracting admissions counselors at universities and colleges, because they know that those kids are self-directed learners. And so we're really excited about partnering with Dr. Paul. We've had a long-standing relationship with him and his family for many years, since the presidential campaigns that I was very fortunate and blessed to have participated in as his personal troubadour of conscience, and getting to do major events with him and tour with him. And so this is really kind of I would call this fruit of the Ron Paul liberty movement and all that I learned from it. And we've poured all of that philosophy into Firefly, so that we're really talking about a robust technology platform that reflects those values. Yeah.
I'm so excited. When you told me that Ron Paul was jumping on board, I said, it's like the missing link. Everything you showed me was so amazing. but then to incorporate his curriculum into the system just took it to the next level.
Right.
Absolutely. Now, I want to talk about something else that takes it to the next level, because you have AI features. I mean, they're mind-blowing.
Right.
Course builders. You showed me an early test where you actually created an entire course on how about me. And
Right.
you plugged it all together and you made a course in real time. And I was sitting there, we were doing a Zoom call, and you said, make a course about Gary Franchi, Next News Network, and who he is. And it literally found everything about me and built an entire curriculum. Like I've used AI tools for production, for script building,
Right.
all these types of things. But to see it build a curriculum in real time was like mind-blowing. So you got the course builders, you got the translators, you got the tutors. Mary, I'm going to ask you, how does Firefly use this AI to empower parents without replicating or replacing them or compromising values? I think that's what a lot of people might be concerned about, because AI, people get kind of freaked out by it.
Yeah. Well, our goal was never to build something that replaced the parent as the primary educator. We view parents as the primary educators of their children. And so we just wanted to give them tools to be able to really help their kids to realize what their strengths are, and to help kind of foster a path for students to be lifelong learners. Like Jordan said, our goal has always been to create self-directed learners with our own kids and with the kids that I've worked with. That's always been my goal. And so the idea behind the AI course builder was to give parents an option, to be able to create courses that facilitate their own child's interests. And so not only do we have, the course builder, which it creates a 5-module course, and each module has 5 subtopics within it. So it's a 25, if you broke it out over weeks, it could be a 25-week course. And we also have a database of over 300,000 educational videos. And now these are videos that don't have ads. They are, all specifically geared toward education. So there's nothing questionable in any of those videos. And the course builder gives the parents an opportunity to build the course and then add into it as they want to. So if they want to add videos, if they want to add printables for their students, if they want to create quizzes, it creates quizzes for the students to take to make sure that they can assess their learning. And really, it's just a tool to allow the parent to teach the child what it is that the child is really interested in, and instead of having to spend hours scouring the internet or pay for additional resources, they're able to create a course about volcanoes. They have a conversation with their kids in the morning and they want to learn about volcanoes. Guess what? They can create that.
My son loves volcanoes. He loves tornadoes. That's what kids love.
Yeah, and my philosophy as an educator has always been, if you can teach the child to love to learn, then they can do anything. I feel like that is fundamentally flawed in a traditional schooling system, because the kids aren't really encouraged to figure out what they love and explore those interests, and to be able to really understand how to learn in a way that is best for them, without being, again, put into a box. Our kids, we have 7 kids, and each one of them has a different learning style. And so a tool like this, if I had had this starting out, I can't even tell you how excited I would have been in, because I would have been able to create things for my kids that really fostered their love of learning and helped them to grow in the areas that they were excited about. So,
I was working with my son last night on his homework assignment, and we had to go through Bible verses, and he had to create a structured paragraph and about Jesus' birth, because our kids are in a private school, and then we had to go through the next project. The next homework assignment was math, and it's it's 8:30 at night. It's a Sunday night. We got to get the kids to bed. When we gotta wake up in the morning. I've got production stuff I need to continue working on. My kids hate the homework, and it's it becomes such a burden. And even for me, when I was growing up, I never did my homework. I hated my homework. I hated school, because there was something disconnected there. And I don't know how I survived public education to begin with, but the reality is homework was always a roadblock for me. So with your education and experience, and now creating this, and Jordan, I want to get to you in a second on about homeschooling, and how it's doubled and what your that part of the conversation. But Mary, you see where I'm going with this? Like, how does this enrich the child without having to give them this burden of, oh, I got more homework to do. I was already at school for 8 hours, and now I got to do homework for 2 more hours, and my parents are freaking out, and I got another project. Like, tell me how this solves that problem.
Yeah, well, I think, again, if you can tap into what the student loves, there are ways that you can integrate all of the core subjects into that. So, for example, you're learning about volcanoes, right? Well, there's ways to incorporate math into those lessons. There's ways to incorporate English into those lessons. There are ways that you can channel the child's interest into making sure that you're covering all of the core requirements that they really need. And this is the tool, Firefly provides a tool for parents to be able to do that. So then if you're integrating all of those different areas, into an hour lesson, then you don't need to spend 10 hours doing school. Our philosophy with our kids, as homeschoolers, it's not school at home. It's not school at home. It's homeschooling. Right. And so this allows parents to kind of break out of that model of feeling like, well, I need to do X amount of hours a day to be able to make sure my kids are, meeting everything that they need to meet. When you have a situation where you can be flexible and again, maybe your kids aren't morning people, so you do your school after dinner. People have different learning styles. And so, and different times of day where they're really engaged. Like our one daughter, she's a night owl. She is like the most creative and the most functional between like 7 o'clock and 10 o'clock, so again, this kind of gives parents the tools that they need to be able to look at their child as an individual, look at their child as a whole person, and not say, okay, we need to check off these boxes. It's more about giving them an opportunity to really, figure out what they love and how can you support that as a parent through the learning process.
Well, what about like, real-time field trips? For example, you want to, say you're going to take your kids down to Chicago to the, where they just rioted at the Louis Vuitton store and it's in the news, and you're going to go show them like this is the repercussions of Democrat policies in urban areas that are just destroying the system as it is. How could you, with your AI system, how could you incorporate something like that? I mean, maybe that's an extreme example, but these are real world things that we need to eventually teach our kids about so they can be prepared when they go into the world. So how does something like that work?
Well, Gary, I can take that question. Gary, short of putting, our kids in harm's way, I would say one of our tools that we have is, and I'm really glad you brought this up about field trips, is that we've created an app within the system called Firefly Compass. And Firefly Compass has 15 mini apps within it that it really becomes a parent command center that allows them to navigate the legal landscape of homeschooling based on their location. It helps them to it gives them a daily planner, a monthly planner, so that they can plan out all their lessons with their kids. It has a Bible app. It has all different types of articles on homeschooling and guidance in that regard. But one of the things it has is a field trip planner where you can input your location. There's a map, and it will give you 50 options of field trip options. Within a 100-mile radius of where your location is, and it will give you detailed understanding of what each of these opportunities is. So that's one way that the AI is helping, is it's giving you guidance as the parent on possible options where you could take your kids for field trips.
Well, then if you go to Chicago, you just need to overlay the crime statistics map and the latest shootings so you can keep away from it. I joke because like I've seen apps that do that, and we are living in some pretty serious times. I kid about it, but it's real serious. People don't want to go to Chicago anymore, and we're in the Chicago area. So anyway, I don't mean to make light of it, but I just think that it's
But Gary, you could use the AI course builder to create a course on the historical crime rates in Chicago and what policies have happened that have affected the crime rates and how that's affecting the local communities and the local economy. I mean, there's lots of things you can do with the course builder. So you can tailor it towards whatever those interests are.
Wow.
Yeah.
My mind's getting blown like with every
and then
revelation here.
Pull in some Next News Network videos to put into the course so that the students can learn all about all these things.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it. I'll be.
To continue,
I want to see myself in German. What?
To continue that point, the course that you make on Chicago crime statistics, once you publish that, once you have, it's been approved by our team, because our team has to approve each course that gets made before it goes out to the community. It will then be populated into our Firefly co-op section, which is our community curated curriculum catalog. That's a lot of C's. Our community curated curriculum catalog is Firefly Co-op. You know, if you think of the traditional co-op, it's parents teaching each other's children. It's everybody's taking a particular subject. And with Firefly Co-op, every course that you make and every course that I make are all put together in this area where my kids can learn from the courses that you build, and your kids can learn from the courses that I build. And when you introduce thousands of people doing this, it becomes a huge catalog of options that come with the subscription.
Yeah.
Dude, you've thought it all. You've thought it all, man. You've thought it all. You put it all in here. This is the coolest thing. I'm glad I asked the question. I really am, because that builds on the course builder system. Then it goes out to the greater community, gets approved. So if Gary creates some crazy educational thing, and you guys are like, no, man, this is nah. But so it goes through a vetting process, make sure it's good, and then it goes out to the community, and other people can benefit from your own child's, desire for curiosity to learn. Dude. Okay. All right. So, Jordan, homeschooling has doubled in just 3 years. In the state of Illinois alone, they are trying to implement law after law to control parents, to get them to submit to certain things. Basically, like the state getting their nose under the tent of families, and then eventually just tearing the whole tent down. And it's a mess. And of course, after COVID, that was a whole nother thing. But so it's doubled in 3 years. Parents feel overwhelmed. How does Firefly make this simple enough that any family can escape the public school system?
It's a great question. It's never going to be, homeschooling is never going to be as easy as dumping your children, off at the indoctrination center. It's never going to be as easy as that. But when you send your children off to Caesar, don't be surprised when they come home and they're Romans. And so it is a harder road, but it doesn't have to be so difficult. It doesn't have to be laden with so many roadblocks and pitfalls and confusion. We've really built a system that answers the pain points that parents have, that provides them with tools and resources, as well as community. Now, this is something that we really ran into when we really began homeschooling for the first few years, is we lived in a very rural area and we were very isolated, and we didn't know anybody else who was doing it. We didn't know anybody else who was homeschooling their kids, really. And it was very hard to put it all together when we were just trying to figure it out ourselves. And so community is such a huge component in this, and that's why we built out Firefly Socials, which is a complete social media suite and community building tools with really any features that Facebook has, we have. You have a profile, you can create friendships and direct message. We have forums where you can post questions or topics and meet people, and so the idea is eventually for people to create Firefly chapters, to be able to meet in person, create and foment community in your local area, as well as outside of your area and internationally. And this is where the translation tools come into play. The entire site is able to be translated there's a little language widget in the bottom left corner that will translate all the text in the site to whatever language you want. And then, as with Translate Plus, you're getting to be able to translate the course videos into different languages. But eventually, the AI is going to get to the point where you'll be able to translate and mouth dub in real time. We're also talking to a potential partner that has an AI language teacher that we may be bringing into the platform. So we're excited about that too. And we really want to create a virtual ecosystem where people are meeting each other all over the world and spreading the message of liberty, across the world in every language, not just in the U.S. Yeah.
Dude, this is so explosive. And this is only the beginning. Like, this is just the starting point right here. You guys are talking about it, I think, probably for the first time in a public setting. So I'm honored personally to be able to share this with my audience. And I failed to tell everybody already, but there is a link down in the description if you want to find out more and go directly to the site and just start getting plugged in and start to poke around and get on the list and figure out how to get this into your life, really. And speaking of life, Mary, okay, you have 7 kids, homeschooled for 14 years. What do you say to parents who think that I could never homeschool my children? What's your message to them?
That I was you. That I was you, and I didn't think that there was any way I could do it. Like I said, I wasn't a trained teacher when we started out. And it wasn't until I started teaching my own kids that I realized I actually really loved teaching. And that's why I went back to school, to get that teaching degree. But, you are good enough for your kid. No one is ever going to love your child the way that you do or care about their education as much as you do. And, as a parent, you dig deep and you make a way. And so the whole goal here was just to provide a way for it to not be as stressful and as hard as it was for us when we started out, and to let you know that you're not alone and you can do it. Even if, you don't have to be a teacher, a trained teacher to teach your kids. You just have to love them and want what's best for them and be willing to put in some time and work to facilitate a good learning environment. So
that's beautiful. Jordan, I'm going at you on this one because the establishment, it's going to come hard. They're going to come hard after this. Are you prepared for attacks from teachers' unions and government bureaucrats who clearly will see this as a threat? What's your game plan there?
We're a private membership-based organization, so we're not under any jurisdiction like that. We're a support system for homeschool families. I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ, and no weapon formed against me will prosper. And that's my stance on all of that. Those have created this massive market of folks that have withdrawn their consent for the system to raise their children. They've pulled their kids out by the millions, and there's a reason for that. There's a whole host of reasons for that, and Firefly is really, I would say, is the answer to that. Like we built this for those folks, for those people. They're just like us, So we're. I'm not just super concerned about those types of things. I'm just going forward in what I feel the Lord has called us to do, and to be a blessing and to be a light. And we're not none of us are hide our light under a bushel. So we're putting. We
don't live by a spirit of fear.
Correct.
It's just we don't do. That's not us. That's not our nature. Right. We walk. We're children of the King, the Most High God, and He has guided our steps. He's guided my steps for all these years, through all the attacks that I have been through demonetization, almost deplatforming, algorithmic suppression. I mean, and now I'm a White House correspondent. Like, who could have thought about that? Like 6 months ago, I could walk into the White House.
Gary. Doesn't surprise me at all.
Like, 6 months ago, like we were on our kitchen floor, like on our knees, like didn't know what was going to happen next, and then all of a sudden Angie and I are walking in the front security gate of the White House.
I know.
And the Prime Minister of India is about to pull in, and the color guard's coming at us. And our first day there, we didn't know where to stand. It was just a wild story, but again, we're children of the Most High God, and He's protecting us. He's protecting you, and I'm blessed. I'm covered by the blood. You're covered by the blood. And to hear your answer like that, boom, let's go. You know what?
Yeah.
No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Let's just lead with that. And they're gonna try to do the attacks. But I mean, what you built here is such a strong foundation as it is. Like, I mean, they could try to tear this thing down, but it's not gonna happen. I mean, anyway. Let's talk about the launch. Right now, beta launch, December. This is the beta. Public in January. So how can families join this movement right now? And then what's your vision for like the next 5 years?
Sure. Well, they can go to fireflyedu.org and click Get Started, and they can become a member. There's also a Become a Member button that you can see the different pricing tiers that are right for your family, for however many students that you have in your family. It's very easy to sign up, and then once you've got your account, you can go and use all the tools, and you can contact us anytime if you have questions. But there's a whole archive of articles on Firefly called Firefly Chronicle that describe how to use the platform, that describe every homeschooling style, that describe every type of learning style in great detail to give you a lot of help. There's so much help on the platform. That's what it's meant to be. In the next 5 to 10 years, online education right now is somewhere in the $10 billion industry. It's going to go up between 3 to 500 billion in the next 5 years. They're projecting between 3 and 500 billion worldwide online education by 2030. So just to give you an example, we learned this just recently. 100,000 students is only 0.0014% of the entire market. So can you repeat that? What did you just say? I said what we just learned recently, updated statistics, is that 100,000 students is 0.0014% of the entire market. So this is really a huge movement, and we see it only growing more because the school systems, whether it's in the U.S. or abroad, are not incentivized to change. They're not going to change because they're functioning at the way that they want to function from on high. So there's a lot of really wonderful teachers in the school systems that are having to choose between their paycheck and paying their mortgage and having food and their own sense of morality, and they shouldn't have to do that. So we want to encourage teachers that would like to still make a living and share their gifts and love of teaching to contact us and to fill out our form on the site to become an instructor on Firefly. We have live teleconferencing on Firefly through our app Firefly Connect. And through that, you can do tutoring, you can do classes, lectures, you create courses, and then you can attach live classes to those and monetize that and still make a living without having to compromise who you are to do it.
Jordan, I think it was like last night, or I had the TV on, and there was I heard someone commenting. The conversation was revolving around the cost of higher education, and how as more government subsidies are injected into supplementing students who have to pay and get a loan to go to higher education, that the cost of the tuition continues to go up and up and up. And the commenter said that, like, what's the whole point of these brick and mortar buildings and institutions anymore? And she made the point by going further to say, we have the internet, we have, all these different tools at our disposal. And I guess my point in bringing that up is, hearing that commentary and then seeing this platform, it's the merging of all of those elements. Right? Like, yeah, sure, you could go on the internet, you could figure out whatever you want. You could type in your favorite search engine and you can get an answer, or you could go to, a ChatGPT, or you could ask a question, whatever it is. But the fact that you have merged all of these things, I mean, even the social aspect of it, because that's one of the biggest things that, like, people have said to us when we were homeschooling. And they find out, and then, like, you're like a weirdo, right? Like, oh, well, how are your kids going to have any friends? how are they? They're never going to have a social life. You know, like they make your decision. Like they just make up excuses, and so having the social part of it, and then the customized curriculum. I mean, this is such a revolutionary system. And then you got Ron Paul. Like that's just the icing on the cake, dude.
No, we're really excited about that.
Really excited about that.
He's such a well-respected, internationally recognized statesman and educator. He had such a huge impact on my life personally. I know Mary as well. I know you too, Gary. And so we're just so thrilled to be working with him in partnership and really bringing the message of liberty through this curriculum to the whole world. And
Jordan, this YouTube channel wouldn't exist if I never met Ron Paul.
Totally.
Right.
I mean, that's a fact right there. Like I owe Ron Paul, Aaron Russo, and those that came before them everything that I'm sitting in this chair right now. And the fact that like we're bringing it to, like we're using this platform, that my platform here, this YouTube channel, and then it's just crazy when you think about the synchronicity of it all, that going back to the Ron Paul Revolution, when Mary called me up and I was sitting in my back room and she's like, hey, I represent Jordan Page and he wants to perform at the Revolution March. And I was like, yeah, let's go, and then Jordan showed up in DC and we were like on stage in front of the Capitol. 15,000 people are marching down Constitution Avenue. You, me, Angie, we make our way to the stage, and then Jordan Page just like rips into his music, and like 16,000 people in front of us, like right in front of the Capitol. It was the most remarkable moment, and I'm talking about it now. It just gives me chills to know that going back to that moment and that phone call, and then all the things that happened in between with the launch of this YouTube channel and then my news channel and then it's just everything there to what you have been building and just for the last 5 years, I guess. And now it's about to launch.
It's all connected. It's all connected.
It's all connected.
You saying let's go is what led to this moment back all those years ago.
That's just, and again, you know what, Jordan? Those are the divine footsteps that the Lord has ordained for this very moment.
Amen. Amen.
And that's why I'm so happy, because lives are going to change. And
that's our hope.
This is the beginning.
And eventually this could become Firefly University. It could be we could expand this eventually into secondary, tertiary levels of education. We're open to a lot of possibilities. Right now, we're focusing on the kids. We're focusing on K through 12 and helping mom and dad to be successful, because it can be really, really hard, especially when you're first starting out. And so we've really had the heart for homeschool families, because we are one. We are this market. We know the market because we are the market. And so we've just poured a lot of love and thought and care into what would have helped us.
Yeah.
And what are the biggest pain points for parents, and those are the things we tried to answer. And keep something in mind also, this is just version 1.
Right.
Version 2, we're looking at implementing some Web3 capabilities, and we have a lot of plans for the future. Version 1 is just so amazing, and we can't wait to see what happens next.
Well, you mentioned a higher education component maybe in the future, and immediately I'm like, well, they do exist. Things like what was it, like Phoenix University or something like that. I remember seeing the commercials for ever, and you could go and you can get your degree, and it's like just college online, right? University online, big deal, right? University of Phoenix, I think it was called. So I think like once you got this whole thing just totally like out of the gate, you're out of beta, you got the full public launch in January, I could totally see like another add-on component that's like, we're going to university level, and we're going to take the whole pie, not just the little piece of the pie. We're taking the whole pie, and then I'm going to go back for seconds, and I hope everybody does. So, I love you guys, and I'm so excited for you both. And
Love you too, pal.
you know, when you first told us, Angie and I, about this, I knew immediately what its potential was, and to know that we're finally at the point where you're in beta, launch coming, full public launch is January is really exciting. So the shot across the bow is happening, and we're gonna keep watching. And folks, the links are below. Guys, I love you, and we'll keep me posted. Let's see what happens.
Absolutely.
Love you too, buddy.
Thank
Thanks
you,
so much.
Gary. Thank you so much.
You too. So, folks, you just saw it happen here. Jordan and Mary Page just handed you the keys to your children's freedom. I'm getting emotional because of the long history that I have with Mary and Jordan, knowing that it's coming to a culmination at this point, to a solution for families that Angie and I have been seeking for a very long time. I mean, you know this. Public schools are collapsing academically, morally, culturally. Teachers' unions are pushing propaganda while kids can't even read or do math. But this platform, Firefly, it changes it all. Full curriculum, AI tools, Ron Paul partnership, community support, a social add-on, all built on Christian pro-family values. Guys, this is how we win the culture war, by taking our kids back. Beta is launching right now, the public launch in January. The link is in the description, fireflyedu.org. Visit it right now, and you can join the revolution. Remember, the establishment thought they owned your children. Well, Jordan and Mary just proved them wrong. So, guys, I thank you again for this gift to American families. And, guys, hit the link in the description.